Hi, I thought it might be helpful for me to just speak to a final draft of the final essay that a student did last year. I've changed the name of the student. And what was interesting about this one is that there were some differences in what I asked for versus what was here. And so I wanted to kind of mention those. So initially, it's a great start, some sort of a general statement to kind of move towards the idea of having your mind change or looking at bias. Um, what I noticed about this though is the person used a lot of I. So there's like this I here, another one here throughout the intro, and I don't think that was necessary. So that kind of stood out to me. And then I also noticed that the student was comparing to Whistling Vivaldi and Between the World and Me, which was one of the topics. So I was thinking, okay, this person's going to talk about the comparison between among all three. And I even thought that here it says film and art has an ability to really put, I don't like the you, the second person, you into a story, or put the reader into a story. And while reading Monster, I felt myself more present within the story in a way I could not achieve with between these other two. So it felt completely like the comparison one. And then it said, through the use of film techniques, the graphic novel Monster allows for a more comprehensive view on implicit bias. So I was like, okay, so they're going to use film techniques and do comparison. So that's interesting. As I read through, there are really strong topic sentences that focus on the graphic novel and or film techniques in Monster. However, the body paragraphs didn't have any of the comparison. And so that really stood out to me. What I did see is a really good detail here regarding explanation and emphasizing this. I also saw one other error of something I'd asked for here where it says on page 59 written in the text. That should only be in parentheses, the word 59, and they should reword it to say, or the singular piece of art that shows Harmon's family, the Harmon family in pain over their son's current situation, parentheses 59. So just getting the written out page numbers out of there, did it over here too, page 40. But there's a lot of really good stuff here too. So it kind of made me have to really think about what this person's goals were in writing this. In the second paragraph, I noticed another good, solid topic sentence, but again, no comparison. They did do better with the page numbers here. And so I considered that, and it was, nice, big, long, full paragraphs. I looked down at the word count. It was 1,233 words onto the fourth page, citations and the works cited page. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. But then I realized they only did 4 paragraphs. So I had to really think about that. 4 paragraphs total instead of 5. So I considered it, and I realized that I was less concerned about how many paragraphs because they got to the word count or exceeded it by quite a bit, and they were able to get onto the fourth page. So I kind of let go of my attachment to the 5-paragraph essay for this one, but I did mark down for the intro really leading up to what appeared to be a very different paper than what the body paragraph showed. Even the conclusion didn't really have those other comparisons back in it again. So anyway, I looked over the rubric and everything for this one, and there were a few, I wasn't that concerned about the few wording errors I saw because it's an in-class essay, you don't have time to edit, but I ended up, because of that structural issue and those problems and the page number issue, I ended up giving it an 88%. So it's a little different, I mean, it's a strong essay in many ways, but just content-wise, all of this was very strong as far as, looking at the black and white and the art and sort of how people deal with it, interaction with it, and how it moves their feeling and how that impacts bias. It's very detailed and very strong. Yet this intro led me in a completely different direction. So for that reason, I had to take off some points. Anyway, so I hope this was helpful just to kind of give you a sense of how someone put one together and what my viewpoint was as I was reading it and how I would overall judge it. Of course, I would go through and do more line item editing, but I'm not going to spend the time doing that for you tonight. Okay? If you have questions, we can talk about it in class. Thanks.